will smoking become history? Well, I've read somewhere that, coming back to this point about prevalence, everyone tends to look at the percentage of populations that smoking, tend to ignore the denominator effect. So I read somewhere that by 2025 there'll still be somewhere between 1 billion and 1.1 billion smokers, roughly the same as today. When I say I read that somewhere, that was on Philip Morris International Science website. So quite clearly, Philip Morris still believes there's going to be plenty of smokers out there. And having spent the last 2 days of last week at their annual investor event, quite clearly there's every intention to carry on servicing them, even if they'd much rather talk about IQOS much more than they would about that core cigarette business, which is the part which still makes all of the money and still has to pay the dividend and the salaries, and therefore they won't be walking away from it anytime soon. In respect to some of the other bits and pieces, I am in print as having said I am particularly concerned about the approach that Philip Morris has used in trying to open a debate with regulators, with the health lobby, about this desire to move rapidly to a smoke-free future, because customers have been, for 40, 50 years, increasingly under the cosh of ever higher taxation, ever more vitriolic messages from public health about how stupid they are to carry on smoking. They have loyally bought the products of these companies, and now you've got the largest of them saying, well, actually, we kind of agree and we don't think you should smoke either. And I think that's wrong. I do think that's a very dangerous approach. And in my callow youth, having been an investor in Ratner's and feeling particularly proud of myself because I bought it after it had fallen 80%, only to find there's no limit to the number of times a stock can carry on halving on you, with a very old joke about prawn sandwiches, that disrespect shown to the customer, I think is absolutely awful in a fast-moving consumer goods industry. And that is a particular area I think people are still quite concerned about the approach publicly that Philip Morris is trying to take for corporate reasons which I understand, but the messaging is too blunt.